make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute you're up 500,000 in soybeans and the next, boom.
Do not attempt to adjust your device.
The revolution starts now.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Turn those machines back on!
You are about to enter the halls of justice.
Show me the money!
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
This is the halls of justice. He is your host, Justus.
Oh, that is me, and welcome to the Halls of Justice. I am your host, Justus. Nice to have you with us tonight. Tonight it's just me. That's right. I'm flying solo. Don't like to do it, but occasionally has to be done because a lot of things in life are actually bigger than this show. So the Fatman will not be with us today. This will be more of an abbreviated version of the Halls of Justice. But we wanted to get something out to you just so you didn't think that we all disappeared. So there's a few things I want to announce before we get into the meat and potatoes. If you are one of our fans on Facebook, please share our site and ask your friends to go ahead and click that like button. If you are listening to us on the platform that hosts our podcast, and that is called Spreaker, there is a place on there where you can either like or follow. I can't remember which it is, but I would like you to do either one of those two. So please like or follow us on Spreaker. It's like speaker with an R. And finally, if you listen to us or watch us on the YouTube or any other platform, Apple, iTunes, I can't even count the number of different platforms we're on. We really need those likes, those subscriptions, those follows to go up a little bit. It helps us keep the lights on in this place, and we know you love to get your conservative slant on things here as we pretty much bash the loony left on every opportunity we get. So please get that done. Also, if there is something that you would like to hear on the show, other than that little noise, if there's something you'd like to hear on the show, shoot us an email. And it's easy. It's Justus, my name, Justus, at hallsofjustice.com. And it's all spelled the same way, Justus, like just us. Okay? So don't make a mistake on that. Shoot it off to us. Even if there's something that we do that you don't like, go ahead and let us know. We're not above constructive criticism to make the show better for you. So that being said, let's get on to our subjects today. The first subject, I call it Shade for Fauci. That's right. Former President Donald Trump reacted to the nation's ongoing struggle to defeat the China virus on Tuesday. He said the senior White House advisor, Dr. Fauci, made nothing but mistakes. That's what Trump said. He said he made nothing but mistakes. So when you go to the COVID issue, we did a great job. This is Trump speaking. We get very little credit for it. I closed the country far earlier. Dr. Fauci and all these people that, frankly, made nothing but mistakes, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to close it to China, Trump stated. He also said, I closed the border to China. I closed the border to Europe, Italy, and all these countries that were having tremendous problems long before they wanted me to do it. Trump continues, this is a quote from him, if you look at Biden, he didn't want to do it, months afterward even. And then, ultimately, he admitted he made a mistake in saying that. If I didn't do that, we would have had hundreds of thousands of more lives gone, Trump concluded his statement. So he has no love lost for Fauci. I, myself, originally, I was halfway on the Fauci train. But then he started with the, we don't need a mask, which I was good with. Then, yes, we need a mask. Then remember the 15 days of wearing masks and shutting down 15 days for the cure, or not the cure, but to beat the virus. Well, that 15-day anniversary. The anniversary of him saying that was just a little bit more than a year ago today. It was about a year and a week ago, 15 days. And then it went to 45 days, and then 3 months. If we could do this for 3 months, we're good. And now it turns out to, 6 feet. But we discussed on last week's show that 6 feet isn't really accurate because that was based on science from the 1890s, a German scientist who was studying tuberculosis, and he was just making a guess, and they found out that that guess was wrong, as 2 independent studies just a few months ago said, hey, at 3 feet, the virus dissipates 80%. So you couple that with wearing a mask, just one mask, and we're good. All the schools that had to close because of the 6 feet rule, because they just didn't have enough room for the kids to come back to school. All the teachers' unions belly aching that they can't go back to school. Well, guess what? They did a study between school districts that actually had 6 feet of space between students and school districts that could only do 3 feet of space distance between the kids, and they found nothing noticeably different in the infection rates, both between the students and the teachers. So this 6 feet has been a guess, it's been wrong, it's been a lie, and it's been beaten over our heads for over a year now. Something needs to change here, and luckily, if you listen to the news here lately, the cases are beginning to drop dramatically. They are going down so far. We'll keep an eye on the states that went totally maskless and see how their cases do. Florida, who never shut anything down, continues to do well in their economy, and their cases are no more higher than California or Michigan, who had the highest shutdown, the highest we're not letting you out of any of the other states. So, people, you have to live your lives, all right? You can't not live your life, because if you're not out living, then you're just waiting to die. So get out there, live your life, and just have fun doing it, all right? Moving on. If you were all in a panic, if you were all in a tizzy that you had to get your taxes done, tax day is only a month away, less than a month away. Well, nope, that's not it. You've probably already heard, but the Internal Revenue Service plans to delay this year's tax filing deadline by roughly a month. So now they're saying mid-May. The officials said the decision was made in order to allow filers more time to navigate tax situations complicated by the coronavirus pandemic. So there were a few lawmakers that had urged this move. Democratic Representative Jamie Raskins of Maryland and Bill Pascrell of New Jersey, they urged the move. They did it again, or did it before last year as well. I think we didn't even have to file till July last year. So if you were scrambling to get your paperwork together, then you got about an extra month so far, maybe even more once we get to it. Here's something I want to know, though. So I do my own taxes. They're not that complicated. I don't have a lot of stuff. I filed it through one of those online companies. It's a pretty reputable one. I even filed mine before February 1st. Now, I get it. I know that the IRS wasn't even processing refunds or returns, I guess you should say, until February the 12th. But here's my dilemma now is I am stuck in your refund is processing. Actually, I just think it says your return is processing. I have been stuck in that limbo almost since the day I filed. I go to the IRS tool every day. Every day I get the exact same message. I've tried to call them several times, and you get so far, and then it says, due to the extreme high volume of calls, we are unable to take your call right now. Click. You can't even speak to a real person at the IRS. Is anybody else having this problem? Have you filed your taxes early, and now you're stuck in processing hell, where every day you go on hoping, and I'm not getting a ton back, but, I like to get my money back because I've paid in too much. Now give me my stuff back. But it just keeps saying your return is being processed, not even a date as to when it'll be done or anything like that. So if you're in the same boat, reach out, leave a message on this post pointing out the podcast, or send me an email, justus@hallsofjustice.com, and let me know that I'm not the only one who is completely shut out of their tax return. Speaking of tax return, how would you like to work for $1.30 an hour? A whole $1.30. When I started off working as a kid, it was $3.15, I think. $1.30 an hour. Well, President Joe Biden's nominee for top Justice Department is a longtime advocate for raising the minimum wage up to $15. Here's a kicker. She owns up to $1 million in stock in a company chaired by her father that pays Mexican workforce as little as $1.30 an hour. That's right, Joe Biden's nominee for top Justice Department. Get this, her dad pays a Mexican workforce $1.30 an hour, but she's going out here saying we need to make $15. I don't know what to say. Vanita Gupta, I hope I pronounced that right. Her net worth is between $42 and $187 million. That makes her Biden's wealthiest nominee. She owns at least $500,000 in Aptiv PLC. That's the company I was telling you about. It's an international auto parts manufacturer. It's chaired by her dad. So in contrast with her advocacy for the $15 an hour minimum wage, the company pays some of its Mexican employee hourly rates as low as $1.30 an hour. And that's according to an active job listing reviewed by the Washington Free Beacon. Now, one job posted on Indeed.com, if you don't believe me, it might be down by now, but you can go there and take a look. It offers a line operator role at one of the plants that pays U.S. dollar equivalent of $260 a month for a 50-hour per week job. The plant is down in Mexico. So let me see if I can pull out the handy-dandy calculator since my math skills aren't that great. So you're getting $260 a month for a 50-hour per week job. All right, so we'll say 50 hours times 26 or 26 pays. And hold on. 50 hours times 52 weeks. There we go. So that's 2,600 hours, right? 2,600 hours. Divide that by 12. So you're working 216 hours a month. And you're going to make $260 a month. So there's where you get your $1.30 an hour. And my math sucks, but even I could come up with that. That's crazy. But yet this lady is Biden's nominee. So moving on. It's time to move on. You know, in radio, they have ratings, and it's called Arbitron. I don't know what they call them in TV. I don't know if it's still Nielsen or if they have another system now. But without the wall-to-wall coverage of all things Donald Trump, CNN's primetime lineup has lost nearly half of its entire audience in this is the prize range, 25 to 54 age demographic. That's what everybody wants to get, 25-54. But they've lost nearly half of their audience since the former president left the White House back on January 20th. So CNN had averaged about 2.5 million primetime viewers from November 4th That was the day following the presidential election through Inauguration Day on January 20th. But the viewers have fled the liberal network, and they did that once President Biden took over. And CNN has only averaged about 1.6 million primetime viewers since then. So they are losing almost half of their viewing audience. Now, if you want to break it down even more, CNN's viewership during the primetime hours of 8 to 11 p.m. has dropped 36% since Biden took office after it spiked following Election Day. CNN's primetime viewership decline was even sharper in that all-important age group I just told you about, 25 to 54, as it plummeted 47% during that same period. So CNN is losing their viewers. I can see why. Having to do this show, I try to watch CNN. I try to watch Fox. I try to watch several different areas and several different social media sites, several different websites, and you know how it is. If I watch Fox, it's everything pro-Republican. If I watch CNN, it's everything anti-Republican. I don't want to say pro-Democrat because they don't do that. It's just anti-Republican. It's crazy. I know the Fatman would have a bunch to say about this right now. Again, he is not here with us this week, so this is going to be an abbreviated edition of the Halls of Justice. We've got some more things that we want to get to. Coming up on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about the horrible incident that took place in Atlanta about a week ago, and we're also going to talk about Nancy Pelosi trying to overturn an election. Right? It's not okay if President Trump says it needs overturned, but it's okay if she does. Stick around. I'm Justus. This is the Halls of Justice.
Or advertise on the Halls of Justice? Email us today at hallsofjustice@roadrunner.com. That's Halls of Justice, spelled Justus, at roadrunner.com. If you have a show idea or like to be a guest, you can email us as well at hallsofjustice@roadrunner.com.
Probably would have been better if I had the volume up during that whole thing. But hey, we're flying by the seat of our pants. There's no editing today, so it is what it is. We're just going to roll with it, and we're going to go from them. Welcome back to the Halls of Justice. We're a weekly podcast with a conservative slant. All things are fair game, however. It doesn't just have to be politics. I am a huge paranormal tinfoil hat card club carrying member. That's right. If you want to talk about some alien abductions, let me know. We'll get a guest on this show, and we'll run with it for an hour or so. If you want to talk about crop circles, if you want to talk about the Bigfoot, hey, I'm down with that. If you go back and listen now, and get this. So Halls of Justice has actually been around since about 2017. But here just in the year, or not even the last year, but since the beginning of this year, when Fatman came on and agreed to be my co-host, we've pretty much just done daily news and politics, some humorous stuff like that. We had a guest on who was a Democrat. That went well, and we got a few more really good guests lined up here in the next few weeks or so. But if you go back to the archives, episode 1 through 8, I think it is. And you can find those archives on our worldwide website, www.hallsofjustice.com. Click on episodes, I believe it's called, the tab on the website, episodes, past episodes, something like that. Click on there, and you can scroll down through every single episode. The archives are all there. As a matter of fact, every time we post a new podcast, it automatically gets updated right there, right through our RSS feed. So you can go back to the very first Halls of Justice ever, should you decide to do so. And as I said, that's the easiest way to do it, is right through the World Wide Web at www.hallsofjustice.com. JUSTUS, just us. and take a look at those. Take a listen to those. We interviewed a palm reader, which was really cool. We had people. She asked that they took pictures of their palms and send them in, and then I forwarded them to her, and then she did live readings right here on the podcast of their palms. We did EVP work. We had a paranormal group come on, tell us some ghost stories, played some EVPs, and let people decide whether they actually heard something or not. We had Ronald Farnham on. He's a little bit out there, but he talks about like flat Earth theory, government conspiracies, stuff like that. That was pretty good. And also the queen of the paranormal, Kadrosha Ona. We had her on. You've seen her on Ghost Hunters and a bunch of other shows. So if you're so inclined to lean that way once in a while you're on the treadmill, instead of listening to us bash the left, then scroll down to the archives and pop one of those in and let me know what you think. Be gentle, though, because it was the early days of the show, and we were just learning, feeling our way through, so to speak. All righty, moving on. The next story we have, it's called Not an AR-15. So the Atlanta massage parlor shooting suspect, his name, we all know, I really don't want to put it out there, but it's Robert Aaron Long. And as you know, he did end up taking responsibility for a string of attacks that left 8 people dead and another person injured. And that was about a week ago. Police officials, I cannot speak today. Police officials said the investigation is still ongoing and the events were not believed to have been racially motivated. Instead, they believe Long opened fire because he saw the locations as an outlet for him to succumb to a purported sex addiction. At least that was according to the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, Captain Jay Baker. He said that during a news conference last week. He said apparently this guy has what he considers a sex addiction. He saw those locations as a temptation for him, and he wanted to eliminate that. Horrible, horrible. No matter what the cause is, no matter what the race is, just a horrible incident where 8 people have lost their lives and another person is injured. Just senseless. So here's the thing that I want you to bring out other than the tragic incident itself was, if you want to tie this together, just about a week ago they were trying to introduce legislation to ban assault rifles, AR-15s, pretty much anything with a rifled barrel. Well, this was not done with an AR-15. This was done with their average run-of-the-mill 9mm handgun. As a matter of fact, he had purchased the gun used in the shooting just a few hours prior to the murders. So, don't let them fool you. It's not always an AR-15 that is responsible for these tragic, tragic episodes. In this case, and as it is in more than 50% of the cases, it was your run-of-the-mill handgun that you can go out and buy and take with you. A 9mm handgun was found in his car when he was arrested. So our hearts go out to the victims, to the families of the senseless violence. We just want to put that out there. And finally today, since we're only going a half hour without the Fat Man, finally today, on the halls of justice, I guess it's only 6 votes, right? House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is leaving the door open to overturning the certified House election results in Iowa. Certified. It's hypocritical. It's unfair. Now, what am I talking about, you say? Well, you probably know. Just 6 votes separated Republican Marionette Miller Meeks from Democrat challenger Rita Hart. Miller Meek's win was certified after a recount process. So they're separated by 6 votes. They do a recount. She still wins, so they certify the election. That's what you got to do. How many times do you need to recount it if you've already recounted it? So Hart then appealed directly to the House Committee on Administration instead of further challenging the result in Iowa courts, which is what you're supposed to do before you get to the House Committee on Administration. You got to go through the courts. So Representative and Republican Miller Meeks has been seated in Congress. She's been sworn in. It's been certified. She won this election. It was certified by the Iowans. And now Nancy Pelosi perhaps is going to want to try to overturn it, because we know she would love to overturn this election. Think about this. When President Trump said this isn't right, we want to try to overturn these results, she went BS crazy. You can't do this. It's not American. Follow the process. It's been certified. Follow the process. Well, the same thing has happened in Iowa, and now it's okay because it's her. This is a bunch of crap. This is a load of manure on your front porch, folks. So Miller Meeks, the winner, has asked the House Administration Committee to dismiss Hart's petition, saying, hey, Hart failed to exhaust state judicial procedures before filing her notice of contest with the House, which is what you're supposed to do. So she can't go back. By law, she can't go back. That's not how it works. States should rule their elections. Voters in that state should decide who they represent. This whole process where they want to go against the laws of Iowa, the election laws of Iowa, and against the voters of Iowa to determine who they want to seat in Congress is unacceptable. She won by 6 votes. I get it. For the other person, that sucks. Have you ever played a sporting event where you lost by 6 points? Yeah, it sucks. You're close, but you're not there. That's a touchdown in football, and you win if you get the extra point. But if you get stopped on the 1-yard line and time runs out, that's it. I'm sorry. There's no recount. No more recounts. You had your instant replay challenge. You failed. But it's Nancy Pelosi. It's the loony left. So who knows? Who knows, folks? This is going to be an interesting one to watch. This is going to be a dangerous one to watch. Because if they're successful, if they overturn this, where do they stop? 6 votes? 10 votes? 100 votes? 6,000 votes? Where do they stop? I don't have an answer to that. But as we, the people, we need to come up with one. Hey, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of the Halls of Justice. The Fatman will be back with us next week. We'll have a lot more in store for you. Again, I'm begging you, if you like the show, get the word out there. Have your friends listen to it. Have them tell 2 friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. The website, the Facebook site, I should say, is growing by leaps and bounds every month. Since we started doing this, we have gained a ton of followers on the Facebook page. Y'all don't listen to the podcast, and I understand people don't have time for an hour or half hour worth of podcast sometimes. But you know what? If you're driving to the grocery store, throw it on. If you're on the treadmill, throw it on. Just take a listen. Have your friends take a listen. If you're got a long commute into work, listen to part of it on the way there, part of it on the way back. And by all means, leave us a comment. Let us know you're listening. Hey, we listened. Great show. Hey, Justus, we don't like you so much. Whatever the case is, just let us know you're listening. All right? That's all we ask. Hey, this is the Halls of Justice. I am Justus. Have a great one, everybody.
You're You've been listening to The Halls of Justice. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Have a show idea, would like to be a guest, or just want to communicate with the show? Email us at hallsofjustice@roadrunner.com. You can also find us on Facebook. Tell all your friends. And we'll see you for a new episode next week of The Halls of Justice.